I spent over like 13 months before I posted a video outside of GeoGuessr, and posting that first video that wasn't GeoGuessr probably like the scariest thing I've ever done.
Welcome to Dubai.
It's good. This weather is nice.
It's so nice. It's wonderful. You've come at a great time.
Yeah.
How many actual content creators do we have in the audience? Hands up.
So everyone.
Yeah, basically everyone. Good. For all of you that potentially don't know what Trevor does, this is going to be a great introduction to someone whose trajectory has just been absolutely insane over the last 3 years. 2022.
It was a New Year's resolution.
It was a
January
New
1st,
Year's
2022.
resolution.
Yeah.
And that's where it started.
It all started. Yeah.
And 3 years later,
3 years
now,
later,
here we are. I want to take everyone back because let's talk about that initial stage. I feel like now everybody and anybody wants to be a content creator, but I think it's important to learn from people's journeys who've actually been successful. So take me back to that, because 2022 wasn't your first introduction to social media in general.
No. So my whole background is pretty much social media. So I started when I was like 15, 16, growing Instagram accounts and selling them. So I've always kind of been in that content sphere. And yeah, I eventually sold an account to someone that knew someone at Snapchat. Then I worked on producing Snapchat shows for 6 years. Those did super successful. And I was like, okay, I'll start my own thing. And as a side project, really just as like my own hobby. And eventually, within 4 months of doing that, I quit my job, and here we are. So I've kind of been in the content space for my whole life, as like since middle school. It's like a game to me. It's like, how can I gamify everything, honestly? So yeah, it's fun.
It's fun, but you surely have to also have the mind for it and the eye for content, right? Because let's take you back to that stage where you were building these accounts and getting it to crazy following and then selling those accounts, right?
Yeah.
How did you figure out what worked and what didn't, and how to get the views and how to get, how to grow content?
I mean, initially it's all trial and error. I feel like you eventually get a pretty good gauge of what you think will work well, and then you kind of reverse engineer from that. But in the beginning, it's all trial and error, really.
Do you feel like there is a set formula that a content creator can follow to grow and to be successful?
I think there's a formula for the algorithm, but I don't think it's the same formula for everyone else. I think there's probably the same base of like the hook and everything. I mean, a good story is a good story. Good content, I think, will truly always prevail. So I don't think there's an exact formula, but depending on the demographic and everything, I think it's pretty the same.
Because one thing you and I spoke about earlier was pattern recognition, and I think that's a huge skill in itself for a content creator to have that kind of eye. Talk to me about the level of your pattern recognition. How does it start? Is that a skill that you either have or don't, or is that a skill you can grow?
It's funny that you mentioned this. If you guys don't know, I play GeoGuessr, which is like, it puts you on a random street around the world and you have to guess where you are. And that's completely 100% pattern recognition. But I also think content is pattern recognition. And I was telling you earlier, I think I got good at GeoGuessr because of my previous experience in content of pattern recognizing trends, why something went viral, why a thumbnail did good. And that's kind of the first beginning of pattern recognition. And I think that helped me in my game.
I like that. I think that there's a lot of pressure nowadays for content creators to, do I become really big on YouTube and then branch out? Are you still on Snap? Is Snapchat still a
snapping
thing?
Yeah.
I feel really old by asking that question.
It's kind of in its own silo and you don't really hear about it much because there's like not comments and there's less community around it. But I mean, some of the most successful creators are probably on Snapchat.
Yeah.
They monetize really well. Yeah.
I want to talk about your community, because what you do with GeoGuessr and this community that you found, I'd love to know if you set out for a certain demographic. Did you have an idea in mind of the type of people that you wanted to gravitate towards your content?
I never really thought about it, but I think in nature, from people I collaborate with and the type of content I make, which is like probably competitive gaming, it tends to skew lower. And then if I collaborate people like Mr. Beast or Kai Cenat, obviously, the younger demographic. But then geography is such a wide net as well that you obviously get some older demographic as well. People just think it's cool and enjoy the game.
Mm.
So
So then when it comes to your geoguessing, because I'm sure everyone at this point has seen Trevor on social media. When I first discovered Trevor, and I said this to him earlier, I got into this deep dark hole of just watching all of it's quite addictive. I'm like, is he going to mess up at any point? Is he going to get it wrong at any point?
yes,
A picture, I think there was one where I literally saw you guessing there was a road. It was just black rocks everywhere. Literally could have been anywhere in the world. And you scarily guessed it right. It was terrifying. How do you do that? Talk to me about your relationship with Google Maps.
It's a love relationship. I love Google Maps, love Street View. I mean, yeah, it's just studying. It's the same way anyone gets good at like Call of Duty. But for me, it's just I was curious about the world. Even when I came here to Dubai for the first time, the first thing I look at is the yellow road lines. You know, so it's like just a different appreciation for the Earth. But yeah, I spent a lot of time studying Street View. Yeah, a lot.
And where do we see your content evolving? Because what you do really, really works. Would you advise a content creator to find a format that just works and stick with that for as long as possible and ride the wave? Or is it reinvent yourself and try new things? Because there comes risk with that as well.
I'm guilty of keeping the same. I always like creating buckets of content. So I create series. So I have like the GeoGuessr. I have like finding like past loved ones' photos, which is like super fun. And then I have like finding old memes, right? So I like to just keep buckets of content, and then eventually, one bucket's running dry. Let's refill it with something else or try something else, which I'm maybe not as good at because if it works, it works. But no, I think it's diversifying is important because as I was telling you, I spent over like 13 months before I posted a video outside of GeoGuessr, and posting that first video that wasn't GeoGuessr, probably like the scariest thing I've ever done. And people think that's crazy.
Yeah.
But like in the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, what if people don't like this? Like, what if? And now it's like my bread and butter. So now I'm telling like past, Rainbolt itself, like it's okay to diversify earlier and find new paths to content that work. And if it doesn't do well, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I was used to be so scared of posting something in a different niche or a different bucket, same niche, but slightly different than what I've done before because I was so scared of people not liking it or whatever. But
so you say even the most successful content creators still go through that, even at their peak of their career?
I still go through it.
Really?
Yeah. I only post 3 or 4 times a year, really 5 or 6 times in short form. So at least on my own accounts. So
what was it? Just fear of people not liking what you put out?
It's a little of 2 things. One, I've spent a lot of time on each video. I feel like once I establish like a pretty solid base following and an algorithm on my accounts, I could spend more time on each video. And then it kind of becomes like this kind of one-upping each time, which is kind of a bad place to be, but it's also a good place to be because then I kind of want each video to be better. But yeah.
Wow. Because
I still struggle with it.
Yeah. I want to talk about that because I think we all know the feeling of posting something up and like you just keep refreshing and checking if it's doing well,
Please
the likes, the comments, are people into this? And then when it's not doing well, you start freaking out and you get really stressed out and you're kind of like hovering over the delete button or the archive button. I want to get rid of this so no one sees how much of a failure this is. Do you experience that as well?
Definitely.
Okay, because that makes me feel so much better.
It's human nature, I feel like.
Yeah.
Obviously you want to be better at it, and over the years it's gotten better. But right now, yeah, I'm still looking for 1 to 10s on YouTube and everything. It's a bad relationship to be in, but it's okay, I guess.
It's okay. But when we talk about the pattern recognition of noticing the things that do well, do you ever sit down and look at the videos that potentially didn't do well and try and recognize why it didn't do well?
Yes. So if something doesn't do well, initially what I'll do is I'll just private it and then post it with a different hook or something until it does well. Or even if it's just like one still shot in the beginning, like a second longer, because maybe they didn't have enough time to read the DM that if I'm like showing past DM to show someone location. Maybe they didn't have enough time to read it and they scrolled, or maybe the text was too long and it's too. I just switch something up to see if it, and usually it's the first 3 seconds that need fixing. So I'll just kind of private it until it works.
Yeah. I think that's important, that no matter how, I don't know, big of a content creator you become, there is always that feedback loop of how you can be better. Everyone can. I want to talk to you about the algorithm, because all I hear from content creators all the time, the algorithm's against me. The algorithm's against me. Something you said to me earlier, which has stuck in my mind, was that the game is no longer about being relevant. The game is about staying in the algorithm. Talk to me about that and what you meant by that.
Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand. But I mean, my whole kind of ecosystem of content right now is create long form clippable content into short form, because then it gives less stress on my main account to post, which I only do every 3 or 4 months. And then it creates an ecosystem of people clipping content, and it still stays my face, my name, my content is still in the short form reels and TikToks. And so I'm still top of mind. So if I ever post, it'll probably end up doing better than if I, show up to everyone's feed for every, 4 times a year. Like, where's he been? So it's still feeding them content that keeps them familiar with what I'm doing enough to where I can really focus on my short form content for my main account. And that's kind of where I found myself right now, is spending a lot of time on short form on my own accounts, and then other people end up just making accounts and clipping my content, which I'm okay with. People kind of mixed feelings about that, but for me, it's as long as, it puts my content out there in front of people. For me, the more eyes, the better.
Yeah.
Because eventually will funnel back.
Are these fan pages, or are they just pages that are pushing just your videos? How does it work?
It's mainly just people that, I think one person started it and then it snowballed and they started like, oh, that worked. Because the culture on TikTok is clips. If you look at the US live streamers, it's all people clipping their content, because you can monetize 60-second videos on TikTok. So people just take my content. I told them they could. It's not like they're doing it against their...
okay, so do they ask for your permission?
No, because I gave them permission first.
Okay,
so please. Because it's a benefit to me. It's a benefit. It's only a net positive for me.
Yeah. One thing that I found really interesting was that your team is actually very, very small. For such a successful content creator. You kind of imagine you've got kind of like a whole army behind you, but
less is more.
Yeah, less is more. So talk to me about that and that specific intentional approach that you've done.
So I just have a YouTube editor, because long form content, editing long form is just so tedious, and less of kind of like to this millisecond. But for short form, I edit all of my short forms, and it's just me, manager, and you're
editing. You're still editing your short form.
All short form videos I edit, but it's 20, 30 seconds, and for me, I love short form. That's like where I worked on doing Snapchat shows for 6 years, so like I know vertical content pretty well. I know how to make a viral video. So it would feel weird for me to give that up, because that's what I enjoy doing and that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So it works.
And it's working. So why try to fix something that isn't
so far,
broken?
so good.
Yeah. Lastly, I know we've only got 2 minutes left, but you have this new series in this format of people sending you photos of their loved ones that have passed in certain locations, or their dogs, or pictures with them and their dogs. And they're saying, please, can you find this location for me? And this series is unbelievable. I actually think you showed so many clips to me this morning. I think it's probably one of my most favorite things that you have done, because it just emotionally resonates.
Yeah.
And you take yourself there. Can we see you doing more of that kind of stuff in the upcoming year?
100%. I think it'll eventually just get to a bigger scale where, now I have videos I've been working on for over a year.
Yeah.
People look at a 20-second video and they think, oh, it's cute.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
But in the background, I'm spending 2 or 3 hours a day for over a year working on that.
Wow.
It's not always, so it does take a while, but eventually I think there'll be bigger scale stuff, and hopefully, definitely more of that. 'Cause that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
My favorites.
Any other goals for you, 2025, when it comes to the content creation space?
Stay focused.
Stay focused. More than you already have?
I haven't,
I feel like you're pretty locked in.
I think 2024, I kind of like took a back seat, and I didn't post as much, but 2025 focus on more short form.
And stay in the algorithm.
Stay in the algorithm.
Trevor, it's been so fun talking to you and getting to know you as well. I'm so grateful for your time. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up. I give you Trevor Rainbolt.
Thank you.